Welcome to Sixth Letter to Earth. I am Kyle, or Nightmarish, and welcome. This is the 4th episode of Sixth Letter to Earth. And today we are going to be talking about Mother's Day and using your mind, controlling your gatekeeper. So this is going to be a fun one, and yeah, so welcome. So this podcast you can find on Google, Spotify, Podchaser, and Spreaker. Wherever you're listening to, I'm going to have to try to expand it out, try to see where I can find, where I can play this podcast. Also, you might notice this doesn't sound like crap anymore. Well, I hope it doesn't sound like crap. Now that's just my voice. I bought myself a new mic, and I feel like this is going to make this sound way better. So, let's get some advertising out of the way of myself, promoting myself. Like I said, you can find the podcast at Google, Spotify, Podchaser, and Spreaker. I stream myself playing games every Monday. I play No Man's Sky, and Saturday I try to do audience game night, but I'm not 100% sure if that's going to happen. And then I play sporadically throughout the week. May 10th is my birthday, and I will be doing a birthday stream of No Man's Sky. So, that's on Twitch and DLive, both at Nightmarish98, NITEMAREISH98. So, we can see how well that goes. This past Friday, I actually was on a different show, and I'm here to promote my friend's show, where on YouTube, where they play Call of Duty. We play Call of Duty Zombies, and we were talking to NHL hockey. This is something I don't really talk too much about on this podcast, but one of my other passions is sports, and I don't talk about it too much because some people may think sports have a little negative energy, but I find that it's good to dabble in it a little bit, get a little bit out of the way. Just, not get out of the way, but, participate in a little bit of it and, just balance yourself afterwards and it'll all be fine. That's why I play video games and all that. It seems to help balance everything out. So, I am in the works of developing my own sports podcast. So, I might be starting to do work on that because I am going to be doing some research. Not like this one. This one I go mostly by feeling and how I'm feeling and what I feel like I need to talk to you guys about. That one is actually going to have legitimate research for sports. So we will see how that goes. I'm not going to make a timeline of when I'm going to release the first episode. I got to see kind of how long the research is going to take. But I'm going to develop show notes, scripts, and all that, and try to record one out, and make a new line for that. So if you're interested in a sports podcast, stay tuned. I will come out with a new one. So this being May 8th of 2021, tomorrow is Mother's Day. So I just wanted to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in my life. My wife, who just completed her teaching, she completed all her requirements for a teaching degree, so she'll want to become a teacher. She's always there for my son. And he's not her biological son, but she treats him just as if he was, and shows all the love and compassion that a mother can. And I love that. So happy Mother's Day to my wife. And now for my mother. My mother and I, we've known each other since Mother's Day. I was born on Mother's Day. So we have a kind of a special connection on that. And I just want to say, like, for my mother, she's provided for me and my sister while we were young and growing up. And I know she struggled a lot. We moved around a lot. But everywhere we moved, it just allowed us to become more adaptable to our surroundings. And allowed me to learn more about everywhere, really. And I remember she's the main reason I think for myself. I think I make decisions because my mom allowed me to make decisions. It allowed me to have my own thoughts and allowed me to think. I remember when I was like 4 or 5, we were living in central BC, British Columbia in Canada, and she talked to me and my sister. My sister is about 2 years older than me, and she talked to my sister and I were like, how'd you guys feel about moving up north? Now we're 6 and 4. Like, we're just kids. Why would you ask a 6 and a 4-year-old about moving? But she still asked us anyways. And we moved up there, and it was great. And it was like, I couldn't believe that. She allowed us to do whatever we wanted to do. Like, I wanted to go in Taekwondo, she got me to Taekwondo. I wanted to do wrestling, I got into wrestling. I wanted to play soccer, she got me to play soccer. And she didn't have all the money in the world, but she made it work. And I love that about my mom. And she also, one thing transitioning through all this throughout my adulthood and everything, she's also become an amazing grandmother. She does everything for her grandchildren, and I know if I lived in BC with her, she would be all over my son too. So, I just want to say Happy Mother's Day to my mom and to all the mothers out there. So, just a little quick snippet for the mothers out there. Have a Happy Mother's Day. Hopefully you don't have to lift a finger. My wife shouldn't have to lift a finger tomorrow, as the plan is for me and the son to clean the entire household while she can relax and listen to her audio books. So, that's going to hopefully be the plan for tomorrow. But, like I said, the one thing my mom taught me is to use my brain, to use my mind, and that is what today's episode is about. Today is episode 4, using your gatekeeper. And we will get started with using our gatekeeper. So, let's get started. Welcome to Sixth Letter to Earth, episode 4, using your gatekeeper. Alright guys, I have to ask you a question. Here's an exercise. I want you to imagine a piece of paper right in front of you, or have a piece of paper in front of you and do this for me. In one box, write TWO. The word 2, and put a box around it. Beside that box, I want you to write the number 2 and put a box around it. And then beside that box, I would like you to put I, capital I, or lowercase i's, whichever one, the Roman numeral for 2. Alright. And put a box around that one. Alright, here's my question for you guys. Which one of those is correct? Only one of those is correct. What is the correct way to write 2? The number 2, I just want to know what is the correct way to write the number 2? Answer me that. I would like you to give me one answer. There's only one answer. We'll get back to that later on in the show, but I want you guys to pick an answer to that one, and we'll talk a bit more about it in a little bit here. So, our mind is the most powerful thing in our possession. We can think anything, and the next week's episode about manifesting our future is why it's important to have our mind. If we didn't have our mind, we wouldn't be able to manifest our future. And we could be easily manipulated. And we could take it for granted for our mind, because we don't often think about using it. But if we use it, we could, our possibilities are endless if we just use our mind. We are conditioned not to use our minds, though. We are only conditioned to obey what authority tells us throughout all of school. We're told to listen. Don't think of yourself. Don't do anything differently. You need to follow our way and do what we say. And it allows us to not have control over our thoughts, and it allows us to not have decision making. I find when a lot of us growing up, we were so scared to challenge authority because that we were told, don't challenge authority. And we were told not to question those who are teaching us, or those who tell us the news, or tell us how to live our lives, like celebrities and politicians, influencers, sports stars, teachers, professors, and special interest groups. We're just told not to question them. We're supposed to believe everything they say 100%. And, don't get me wrong, sometimes and parents too. But don't get me wrong, sometimes there is good advice coming from those people. They do sometimes teach us good things. And there are things that come from that is very helpful. But the problem is we're told to not question anything. We're not told to use our minds to question if everything they're saying is 100% true. So, your teacher can keep telling you, 1 + 1 = 2. Canada is the second largest country on earth. All that. But then what if they come around and say, all conservatives are racist? Something like that. Or general terms like that. Or we can't feel pride in our country. And we're not allowed to question it. We're not allowed to question it because that's even bigger topic. That's even bigger topic in politics than that. But in general, we're not supposed to question it. Because these are people who we look up to for influence. They teach us. And sports stars, they teach us we want to be like them, so we gotta listen to every word they say. Celebrities have all the money and fortune and fame, well, we want to be like them, so why don't we listen to them? Politicians is one I never make sense why people listen, 100% follow what politicians say. Because what does the government want? They would just want to control us. So it never makes sense about politicians. News, well, the problem with the news is they can tell us a story, but we don't know if it's true or not. They could be trying to benefit themselves. That's why we need to really have control of our gatekeeper. Our gatekeeper needs to be in full control. We need to be in full control of our gatekeeper. Because we need to be able to process a story. We should be able to think about, okay, is this story true or not? Is this what I'm truly thinking? Or is it something they're trying to tell me to think? And that's a hard thing to break away from. It's really hard. We need to be able to filter if we need to retain information or discard it. Obviously, there's going to be things like, don't touch the stove, it is hot. We should retain that kind of information, safety information. But let's say if your parents said, everyone on the west side of the city are bad people. Well, you know your parents are trying to keep you safe, but if you really think about it, how can we know that? When it comes to these beliefs, you need to 100% feel it. And I feel like there's a lot of ways that they try to take away our minds and try to take away our thoughts. Because they can control us with binds around our mind. They bind our mind. And we need to find ways to break away from that. We need to be able to control our gatekeeper. We need to be able to think our thoughts. We need to be able to if we see a news story, we need to be like, okay, that's what they're telling me. Is that 100% what's going on, or is that just opinion? Here, I have an exercise. Think about this exercise, okay? Think about this, right? Let's say on TV there is an apple on a stool. Like there's a plain apple sitting on a stool. Cameras all over it, and people are saying, wow, there's an apple on a stool. But the news doesn't want attention brought to that apple. They don't want that. So what if they were like, anyone who says there's an apple on the stool is a conspiracy theorist, is a racist. They are white supremacists, or ists, or all negative names to make you think, oh, well, that person's thinking about that. Like, they can't be trusted. When you have your free thoughts, free minds. What if they are trying to use us as a tactic to take away our minds? We have to have control of our own minds, or else they can control us. The best way for us to manifest our future is to have 100% control of our mind and our gatekeeper. We need to be in full control so then we can take in information that is correct, take in information and know if it's truthful or if it's right or correct. We need to be able to discern ourselves from proper words or proper stories. We need to be able to sort it all out. We need to be able to know what's true and what's not true. And I feel the best way we can do that is if we take away the middleman and we tell that saying to ourselves. Like for the apple on the stool thing. You've seen it. But let's take away the news. Let's take away the news agency out of it. You say, there's an apple on the stool. You've seen it. You know there's an apple on the stool. 100% you know there's an apple on the stool. So the news agency is trying to take away your thoughts and put their thoughts in your head. Even though you know there's an apple on the stool. And this is where a gatekeeper needs to get strengthened. We need to be able to discern information that we know is true. That we know is true. And we need to be able to know what information is fake. So, let's go over some things. Let's see if I tell you some things and we'll see if it's true or false. Alright? The moon is out at night. Most of the time. Well, you've seen the moon. It's usually out at night. So most of the time, the moon is out at night. That's true. All right. Grass is pink. Well, no, it's not. We think it's green. We see it as green. It's not pink. All right. Let's do another one. Oranges taste bitter and salty. Bitter maybe, but salty no. These are things we know, and we've seen it for a fact. So now let's go with stories. Let's say, I don't know, JFK was assassinated. Yeah, we've seen that, and that happened. Absolutely. So, that's just little exercises for our brain to think about what we see and what we know. So, let's go back to the very first question I asked you, the 222. In your boxes, you have the letter TWO for 2 in a box. You have the number 2 in a box. You have II in a box. So when I tell you that only one of those is correct, what is the correct answer? The correct answer is the question is wrong. Because all 3 can be correct. And I question the person asking the question. You should be questioning me. You should have questioned what I asked you right at the beginning. There is no one way to write number 2. There's no one way. But this is kind of the things that we are being taught how to do. I'll give you an example of a time when I stood up to authority and it worked out in my favor. It was about grade 9, 10. Something like that. I think it's grade 10. And I was in social studies. It was near the end of the year, and I missed a little bit of time due to a funeral. I had to go to a funeral, and I missed a little bit of school. Anyways, due to this funeral, I couldn't get the right materials to complete a project. And it was coming near the end of the year, and my teacher at the beginning of class, we were near the last week of the class, but we had this big assignment to be done. But my teacher said, everyone in class has to do this review. It's not worth any marks, but it's going to help you prepare for your final exam. And I told her, and I was thinking, okay, well, I want to get on this assignment that I have to get done. So I'm going to start planning that out. I'm going to start planning that assignment out. And start working on that in class instead of this review that's not worth any marks. Because why wouldn't I use the time in class for the assignment that is actually worth marks instead of the review? Now, yes, I was going against a teacher. But the morals were there. Anyways, so I was working on the assignment in class when everyone was doing this crossword review. She came up to me and said, hey, Kyle, you should be doing your review. I said, well, that's not worth marks. This is. I'd rather do the thing worth marks in class. Get started so I don't waste too much of my time out of class. I get this review is important for me to learn, but I can do it at home. If it's so important, I can learn for a review. I can do it at home to know all this stuff. Now, yes, she told me that I had to do it. And absolutely, she had every right to get upset with me because I wasn't listening to her. But the value of the story is right there. Because she told me if I continue working on that review, that I was going to get sent to the office. She said, either work on the review or get sent to the office. I might have messed that up. I apologize. So I said, I guess I'm going to the office. I grabbed my stuff and walked to the office. And I went into the little room there at my school and started working on my class. The vice principal seen me going there. She was like, hey, Kyle, what are you doing here? I was like, I'm just doing some work that's actually worth marks instead of the review that's not worth marks. And that got me sent to the office. And yeah, so you stick to your morals, you stick to your guns, and authority shouldn't really, like the authority and everyone against you, or everyone is trying to tell you how to think, it shouldn't matter, because as long as you might be scared, it might be scary to go up against them, but at least you feel 100% correct with yourself. You feel better about yourself because you used your own mind, you stuck to your own mind, you didn't go into their mind tactic, and you didn't fall into them. You did what you needed to do. And I feel that's what a lot of us need to do more. We need to think about things before we go. Because think about it. If we just 100% agreed with what everyone said, we could easily be controlled. Someone say, oh, you're a fucking loser. You'll never amount to anything. Well, we'll be depressed and be like, oh, I'm just a loser. I'm never going to amount to anything. But that's not true. You know that. You know that 100% you're not a loser. You know this, and that person is just jealous of you, or they want to bring you down. Don't let them do that. Your gatekeeper needs to take that information and be like, are you really a loser? Or is this person being negative? And you need to just discard that thought. You got to discard that thought. Or let's say if someone says, I don't know. Let's say if someone says, you need to all wear red hats on Fridays. Well, what if you don't like wearing hats? Society says you can't go outside until you wear a red hat. Like, what is society going to do? Yeah, everyone will be against you, but if you stand up with your morals, so you hate hats, you don't like hats, you just can't stand wearing hats, you rather your hair be free, don't wear a red hat. This is all part of your mind. Get in control of your mind. You should be able to control your mind, what you see, what you hear, what people say to you, what you feel, what you touch. You should be able to be in all control of that. That is controlling your gatekeeper. And I feel like before you can manifest your future, before you can talk to the divine, you need to have full control of that. And it is all part of being awakened, as some people call it. I say it's more of being aware, because some people I don't feel are aware of what their minds can do. We need to free the binds on our minds. And like I said last time, the sixth letter to Earth, the sixth letter is F. And I don't mean, by F, I mean freedom to Earth. Freedom to you and freedom to your mind. Anyways, next week on my podcast, I'm going to be talking about manifesting your own future. Can you manifest your own future? If you think about it, if you go into meditation, you think about positive thoughts, you think about peace, you think about a better future for yourself, can you manifest your own future? If you think the world's a beautiful, wonderful place, it'll be a beautiful, wonderful place. If you think it's a horrible, dark, horrible place, it'll be a dark, horrible place. I also am thinking next week I'm also going to do messages from the divine, where I'm going to try to see if on my podcast, if I can get some messages from the divine. I've received a few messages already out from previous times I've gone in meditative state, and I feel like I'm ready to try to bring it out. I'm trying to be a teacher of light. I'm trying to be a soldier of light. And I feel like maybe I can get the divine to send messages through me to tell you. So next week's episode, I'm not really going to be talking too much. I'm going to be doing more of a meditative state. And I'm going to be more trying to see if I can receive messages from the divine. And maybe I'll do that like as every 5th episode, I'll do something like that to receive messages from the divine that to send to you guys. So, anyways, that has been 6th Letter to Earth. I'll see you guys next week. Comment on the D-Box. All the links are going to be in my in the description of the podcast and on my link tree. Thank you and have yourselves a good night. Remember, freedom to Earth. Freedom to you. And freedom to your mind. Thank you Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And I'll see you guys next week. Same bat place, same bat channel, same bat day. I don't know. I think that's how it goes. Anyways. Have a good day, guys.